and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I am looking to discuss just how Ramon Kota is one of the most memorable villains, movie villains, that I've ever come across. And I just feel that because it was like a sequel to a classic canon film, which was Delta Force, of course, he was in the second Delta Force, but I always felt that the second Delta Force never really got the attention that it deserved because I always felt like it was superior to the original because the original was just too long and too preachy. But this movie, it just, you get in, you get out, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's violent, and because of Ramon Kota, Billy Drago's performance, or his take on Ramon Kota, that's the thing I always think about when it comes to this movie. I mean, he is like, he plays the part with like an icy perfection. Like, Billy Drago's face is mean. Like, Billy Drago plays a really good on-screen tough guy. From everything that he was in, from where he played the vengeful spirit in the episode of Walker that he did, to the small part that he plays in Invasion USA, to the small part that he played in the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. And he always seems to play a really good bad guy, but he never really gets the chance to sort of have a lot of fun with it because he always plays smaller parts. And he always seems to be a little too restrained or something. But with this, he's allowed to go full on. And Ramon Kota is terrifying. Like, I mean, he kills the chick's husband, he kills her baby, and then he uses the baby's body to smuggle drugs, and then he rapes her. I mean, Jesus Christ, buddy, you are fucking frigid, you know? And then I loved his compound, and I loved how he sort of inspired his men to really go hard for him just because he seemed so invested in his work as a bad guy. Like, he seemed like he really got off on importing drugs, and he loved living in this compound that he created that has a fucking gas chamber in like his big ass living room. And it seems like everybody that works for him, you could argue, really seemed like they were on his side, even though we know by the end of the movie Mark Margolis' character is actually looking to kill him so he can take over. So even though Mark Margolis is pretending to play along throughout the course of the film, he's actually not interested in helping Cota much. I loved how Cota used knives. I loved how when Norris's partner attempts to kill him at the polo game, at the polo match, I like how traditionally, sorry, in these movies, whenever you see like the drug dealer, the drug kingpin, he's at like a polo game or he's at an art gallery. He always seems like some kind of uncultured buffoon, which of course that's by design because they're supposed to, like, oh, look at this guy, he's going to an art show, but he's a fucking idiot murdering drug dealer who can't even spell. But I didn't really buy that with Billy Drago's performance or his portrayal of Ramon Kota. When he's at the polo match, it's like he belonged there. And even though he is total scum, he doesn't come off like idiot scum, like when movies, like I said, like when movies always try to show the drug kingpin. There's always like, they're not the most intelligent people. But with Ramon Kota, he was played with such a subtle intelligence. Like, he was quiet. And you could tell that he never thought of anything outside of making money. And I also loved how he used knives. I loved how like they were like at his wrist whenever he needed them. He could just, and he'd stick it in whoever. I thought that was cool too because again it adds another layer of badassery to the character because it's like instead of just using a gun, which he does use to kill Norris's buddy's wife and kid at the start, he likes to use knives because it makes it more up close and personal. So again, it adds another layer of evil to the character. And Billy Drago, he was just built for this. Like, his eyes are so cold, and he seems so dead. And this just seems so real that I couldn't help but falling in love with the character when I was a kid. And here it is, like a million years later, 2024, and I'm still discussing how fucking badass Billy Drago's performance was in this movie. What else did I want to say? Yeah, I think actually that's it. So, thank you for hanging out with me for almost 5 minutes while I discussed the character of Ramon Kota from the sadly overlooked Delta Force 2 that came out way back in 91. Like always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good night.